Hey, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about how your menstrual cycle affects your fat loss results and your weight loss, and what stages of your cycle you can expect to lose weight and also possibly to gain weight. I've got loads of female clients who I've worked with over the last 11 years, so understanding this has been quite important to me. All the research I've done over the years, I've kind of rolled up into this little video. It's pretty basic, but it's kind of just like a nice little overview. Now, it won't apply to everyone, so if you're on birth control, this may not be strictly accurate for you guys. I'm not a doctor, so take everything I say with like a grain of salt. And I'm also not a female, obviously, so I don't know how you specifically feel. But yeah, I've trained thousands of female clients, and hopefully this will help you as well understand weight loss during your journey. I've done it on an online sheet, so I'll guide you through because it'll be a little bit easier so you can visually see what I'm talking about in the video rather than trying to remember what week I'm talking about at the same time. So into the video we go, and click like, subscribe and comment if you have any questions at the end of the video. Okay, see you in a sec. Hey, so we're onto the screen of what I was talking about, where I'm going to break down each week for you and stuff like that. So one thing to remember as well is everyone is different. Not all women are the same. They all have variant degrees of differences in their menstrual cycle. It's totally normal, okay? So this may not necessarily be your kind of layout and how you feel during it, but it should be pretty much on point, I hope, for the majority of people. Everyone is very individual with their hormones and stuff like that, okay? So the menstrual cycle is broken up over 4 weeks. The first 2 weeks would be called the follicular stage, and the second two would be the luteal stage. So your week 1 period would start on your first day. So that's how week 1, day 1 period is the first day. So during this week, you have, the first 2 weeks, you have high estrogen and low progesterone. So period day 1, and what happens is you're more insulin sensitive during this follicular stage. That means you're going to handle your blood sugars a little bit better. Your muscles are going to soak up the sugar when you work out. And you're not going to store as much carbs as body fat. So when you're on your period and during the first 2 weeks, that is prime time to be really getting your training on, making the most of your fat loss and getting really good results. The only thing in week 1, obviously you're going to be on your period, so the training, the working out may not be as comfortable as it normally would be, but the benefits during that week are going to be great and definitely worth your while training for. It's just a great time to train. And like I said, it's better muscle building. Week 2 will normally be your best week. So your period would maybe last 3 to 7 days. Going into week 2, you obviously don't have your period and you have one less thing to deal with. And that week 2 is a prime time week to really knuckle down on your training and get really good results. Because like I said, you're more insulin sensitive, your fat loss and your weight loss is going to come a lot easier during these 2 weeks. Then ovulation happens and you're into week 3. And this is where everything kind of goes a little bit all over the place. So week 2 would be your best week. Week 3, high estrogen, high progesterone. You won't deal with your carbs very well at all. You'll be a little bit more insulin resistant, so you won't use them as efficiently in your body as you would have in week 1 or 2. And fat loss is generally a little bit harder. Your mood isn't as great. And during this phase as well, you end up getting a little bit more water weight as well. So that's totally normal. So coming into week 3 and also into week 4, you'll just find it a little bit harder to lose weight. So if you're doing one of our programs and you're in week 3 or week 4 of your menstrual cycle and you've noticed this week, I wonder what's happening. Why have I not lost as much weight this week? I've still trained as much. It could be due to your menstrual cycle, okay? So if in week 2 you started a diet or a nutrition program or a training program, let's just ignore week 1. Say you started in week 2 of your menstrual cycle, and that's your week 1 of your working out or training program. You'll get a really good result in that week, and then bam, the second week you're actually into week 2 of training, but week 3 of your menstrual cycle, and you go from a great week to a really crappy week, and you're like, oh, I lost 5 pounds in my first week. The second week, I've done nowhere near as well. I've not even lost a pound. I've actually gained weight this week. How has that happened? And that can be down to your menstrual cycle and just the timing of that. So it's not always a great week, and it's sometimes why some people can quit really easily on themselves. They go from a great week and they're on a high, then they go into week 3 of their menstrual cycle, for example, and they want to come down because their results aren't as good, and you could end up quitting whatever program you're following. It might not even necessarily be with myself. It could be with your trainer at a gym. It could be like a nutrition plan you followed online. It could be Slimming World, Weight Watchers, or whatever. So bear that in mind. Week 3 is never really a great week for people on their menstrual cycle. And then week 4 comes along, and then your estrogen and your progesterone drop, and your serotonin and your dopamine is affected, which is like your feel-good hormones. And that causes your PMS to kick in, your bad moods to kick in, and things aren't great. And you end up being, just rough. And your cravings may start and so on. And one thing, if you get cravings and you crave chocolate during this period, is vitamin K is great. So leafy greens, lettuce, cabbage, and spinach are great for you. They're going to help curb your cravings, because you're not actually craving a specific food. You're actually craving a vitamin, but your body will see that vitamin in its food type. And another good way to control it is with like a bit of cocoa powder in water. And that's supposed to be great for cravings during this phase. Now, I don't suffer with this phase because I don't have periods, and I don't have the menstrual cycle to deal with. So if you, so I've heard cocoa powder is great, and obviously leafy greens and stuff like that, lettuce, cabbage, spinach, broccoli, kale, and so on is great for this week 4 stage. Okay, so so I hope that lays it out quite well, and I hope it's quite clear for you to see what to expect. Week 1 and week 2 of your menstrual cycle, you're going to be great. Week 3 and week 4 are going to be ropey, and you just have to remember, you're just going to have to deal with it in your own way a little bit better. Okay.
I hope that chart was able to give you a bit of structure and understanding of how your menstrual cycle works over the month, and how it works in your mind, so that you can understand the different stages and what to expect in each week. The really important thing to remember is during that stage is you can't just blame weight gain on your menstrual cycle. So if in week 1 and week 2 you were really good, and then week 3 and week 4, even though you're suffering, you should still focus on eating really well, because that's still going to get you results. You can't blame it all on your hormones, okay? So that's really important. But during your month, I always say to people, weigh yourself once a week, see how you're getting on, and you may actually be able to notice what to expect during certain stages of your menstrual cycle. So a lot of my clients, I notice, and they will notice after a couple of months of weighing in every week, they begin to see, I've paused this week, I've put on a pound this week. I always put on a pound during week 3 of my cycle, for example. And that's really common. And it comes down to that time of month in the training. And we're both a bit like, hey, you've put on your pound. You always put on this pound. It's totally normal. Don't worry. Another thing to remember is during your follicular stage, hopefully you'll be able to use that kind of chart and this video for a reference to know when to really take advantage of each phase. So your follicular stage, you're in a more insulin sensitive state. So train hard. You're going to use your carbs up a lot better. So during the week 1 and week 2, I'd make sure that you're working yourself out really hard, getting really good results. Week 1, you will be on your period, but still get yourself in, because that's prime time to be training. You just have to put up with a little bit of the uncomfortability of being on your period at that moment in training. But week 2, you don't have to put up with that, and you can build on the progress you made in week 1, okay? So them first 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle are super important, and you should really take advantage of them. Weeks 3 and 4, your luteal stage, remember that's going to be your stage where you would normally find it harder. Week 3, week 4, bear in mind your results are going to be a little bit harder to come by. You might have slower weight loss, but it won't always be fat gain. It may just be a little bit of water weight. So don't beat yourself up in that stage. That's really important to remember. And also with your moods being a little bit lower during weeks 3 and week 4, try and go low carbs because you're more insulin resistant. But just bear in mind that if you're on low carbs, you may just be a little bit more bitey than normal. So don't go so low during week 3 and 4 of your menstrual cycle where you're struggling mentally, because at the end of the day, you want to be feeling good as well as you can in week 3 and 4. But don't put too much pressure on yourselves in them 2 weeks. And remember, for cravings, leafy greens, kale, spinach, broccoli, and things are fantastic to be using to fight off your cravings. And also, I've read online over the years, cocoa powder is great. Put that in a bit of water, and that should really help your cravings as well. Anyway, I hope this video has really helped you out and given you a bit more understanding on your menstrual cycle and weight loss. Let me know if you can relate to anything in this video, and if it makes sense, just comment below. How do you find it? Do you lose weight when you're on your period week? It'd be really good to know, because I've got loads of female clients and I'm sure they'll be looking at the comments below. So comment below any feedback, or if you've got any further questions on this subject, because you guys are all in it together, you're all here to help each other, and these videos are based around all your questions. If you've enjoyed the content today, give it a like, and hopefully I will see you soon. Subscribe below, and like I said, drop us a comment. Take care. Bye.